The other day, my friend said something kind of funny, kind of interesting. She was at the gym and she texted our group chat and she was like, today is probably the international day of giving up on your New Year's resolutions because the gym is empty for the first time this month. And I thought, you know what? Maybe she's onto something just because over the weekend I was going through my resolutions for this quarter, not even for the year. And I was like, yeah, I did set too many goals and intentions for the next 12 weeks and I'm kind of overwhelmed. Then I did some research and I'm gonna leave the link in the description if you're interested in that at all. But about 20% of the people that set goals over the new year end up quitting them in within like a couple of weeks, like in the first week of January, and 40% I think quits them by the end of January. So, today being like the 20th, 21st, there's some truth to that. And I found it really fascinating how we see all these goal setting videos in December or like really early January, but then people kind of stop talking about it when in reality, this is the best time to set realistic goals that you're actually going to achieve. If you've been here for a while, I have done a video on goal setting before, and I always like to keep things simple. If you go back and you watch my video, I have this one-page Notion template. It's super easy, super intuitive, and it does help me. And even if I try to be my most authentic, realistic self and have the simplest tools in front of me, I think there's just something about the end of the year, and the holidays. You're so motivated. It's so fun starting something new. The beginning of a new year is always exciting. But that like really cliche phrase that nothing changes if you don't change. That's what happens, like, because we just go back to our routine after a while. Of course, like you get through the holidays, maybe you have like a few days off and life is fun and things are different, but then you go back to your routine because that's what we are supposed to do. We all have jobs and we cannot just quit everything overnight and start something brand new. And reality really hits and something's gotta give, and that's usually your most ambitious goals. But why is the end of January the best time to set goals? Because in the end, you can set goals anytime, like any point in time throughout the year. You don't need to wait for a new year. You don't need to wait for a new quarter. You can just sit down and set a goal right now or 3 months from now. But I think that the end of January is great because my cats are being so noisy right now. I think the end of January is the best time because you still have those goals that you wanted, to achieve this year kind of fresh in your mind, and you're starting to get motivated. You're feeling like, okay, this is not realistic. I don't know how I can fit this into my routine. So they're still there. Like, you haven't fully given up on them. You want to accomplish that. So what we can do right now is kind of go back to our list of goals and see what it is that we actually want to do, because sometimes we set goals just for the sake of setting goals, or just because we are in that euphoria of the holidays and we think, you know what, like I can do this. Or someone told a funny story over Christmas dinner and you're like, I want to do that. I'm going to put that on my list. I'm going to get that done next year. And like you go back a few weeks later and you're like, oh, that's not even something that I like. That's not me. So now you can actually go back to your list and see what you actually would like to achieve. Even if like there's a part of you that doesn't feel like it's realistic anymore, but you still like that would really make you happy, keep it there, because you're going to find a way to add it to your calendar and kind of adjust it to your routine. I feel like in times like these, for example, the beginning of a new year, we forget that slow progress is still progress. I have this tendency of like, okay, I want to launch a template shop, which is one of my goals this year, and I wanted to do that during this first quarter. But I got hit with so much client work that I didn't expect, which is great because that's what brings in the money, so I can afford to spend time creating content and working on digital products that they're not gonna bring in a huge amount of money at first because I'm not a huge creator. So I followed the 80-20 rule. I focus on what's working. 80% of my time, my efforts, my energy is going towards client work, of course. But then there's that 20% where I can work on everything else. And that includes my goals. And even if it doesn't happen this quarter, I can stretch it out a little bit longer and maybe launch it over summer. So here's how I'm approaching this end of January goal setting thing. I hope this helps you, because the very first thing I did was exactly that. I just kind of went back, reevaluated, and scaled down. So instead of having 3 templates ready to go this quarter, I'm gonna have the same 3 templates ready for June. so like the beginning of summer. And the most important thing for me right now is to just be consistent. If I can dedicate 2 hours a week to templates, great. If it's three, even better. Set a minimum amount of hours, like realistic amount of hours. Add it to your calendar. I'm a huge fan of time blocking, and dedicate yourself to that. But know that there's no pressure for you to continue working on that if you can't. And like I said, I'm focusing now on what's working. So right now, client work is going great, which I really needed that. The last quarter of last year was not great. I was not actively looking for clients, but also clients were not reaching out to me because in the past I would rely a lot on referrals. I've talked about that here in the channel before. So now I actually have like clients and projects that I really love, and I'm charging a little bit more than I was last year, which also keeps me motivated. So I'm focusing on client work right now. That's where my focus is, knowing that's not forever. I won't need to work 150 hours a month on client projects forever, but for a period of time, I'm really fine with that. And I'm fine with taking all the little things I've planned for myself for this quarter when I thought I would have more time and more energy to dedicate to them, and just kind of squeezing in between all of these things that take priority. But I think it's also important to not fall into a comfort zone again, because the whole like idea of goal setting and getting excited about something new is that you feel like you're going to get out of your comfort zone. You're going to get out of your routine. You're going to do something new, something different, something that's going to bring you closer to the person that you want to be. But if you just go back to your routine, you go back to focusing on what's working, you scale down your goals and you tone down your dreams a little bit, that's not good. Like, you're still gonna be in that comfort zone that we do not want to be in. At least I don't want to be. So out of all the things you dreamed for yourself for this year, pick one that's going to be challenging and hard, if you will. For me, that's definitely more talking videos on my Instagram. I've been doing that. Being more consistent here on YouTube. I tried to do Vlogmas. Vlogmas burned me out. It was so hard. I didn't complete the 24 days. I think I did like 16 maybe, which was still great. It was a huge challenge. I feel really proud of myself for, doing 16 videos in such a short amount of time. And now it's time to just go back to something that works, that doesn't burn me out, but that's still a little bit challenging and that gets me out of my comfort zone. And that is, being here every week and doing a long form video, doing a few reels all over on my Instagram, and just talking to the camera, not just clips from YouTube, but actually like creating content for Instagram. But that's not just like B-roll, because I feel like that's so saturated. I don't enjoy that type of content anymore. And I feel like for my audience, that worked really well when I was doing it consistently, just showing up on camera and talking about a subject. So that's what I'm doing. It's still me getting out of my comfort zone, but it takes me maybe 4 or 5 hours every week. But I know that I'm going to dedicate that block of time to it, and the rest of the time I can dedicate to other things. So it doesn't really like consume me or overwhelm me. I have also talked about this before here in the channel, how I'm just obsessed with planning. So much so that I get stuck in the planning phase way more than I actually go in and do things and take action. I'm trying really hard to change that. So what I did now, every Friday, I have, I think it's 1 hour or 2 hours every Friday that I dedicate to planning and daydreaming, just like going crazy, letting my mind go through everything that I wish I could do, or that I really want to do. I write things down. I do like brain dumps. I make mind maps and vision boards, and that's an exercise that I think everyone should do. You don't need to do it every week. I feel like for me to stay motivated and keep doing what I'm doing and showing up, I need that every week for now. But it can be like once a month, once every other month. Redo your vision board. Go through your list of things you want to accomplish and things you want to do. Even if it's like, don't limit yourself to 12 months. What do you want to do over the next 5 years or over the next 3 months? It doesn't need to be like for the whole year. Just what is it that you really want for yourself? I feel like that's a question I go back to a lot, because I want so many things and I want to do so many things, and I'm so multi-passionate, and that serves me great at times, but it also hurts me so much because I don't have extra hours in my day to dedicate, to writing and singing and playing instruments and learning new languages. And I love doing all of those things. And at the same time, like, I'm building a business, and right now I'm at the stage in my business where it is so critical that I'm present and fully immersed, because it's all or nothing for me at this point. And by the way, I'm reading this book by Seth Godin called The Dip. If you haven't read it, it's a really short book, but it's so eye-opening and it's getting me so motivated, to keep working on my business, because I'm exactly at the dip, like just when everything goes south and you're like, I either give this up or I get through this and I'm the best that I can ever be. And that's my mindset right now. So, of course, if I'm at that stage in my business, I cannot dedicate myself to all these other things that I love so much, but I know that at some point in the future I will. So I go back to my vision board a lot. I go back to my journal and to my Notion pages where I write things down and I make plans, and it's all so exciting and it helps me stay motivated and even accountable in a way, because I know that down the road those things will happen. I will have the time and the energy for them. So if you're anything like me and you're going through this like reset your goals phase, I hope this video helps you get some clarity. I hope you feel less alone, because I have definitely felt in the past that wrong for, giving up on a goal or two for a while and just feeling like I'm like such an imposter, for not being able to handle everything. And that's just not true. Like there's a reason why these things happen, and it doesn't happen just to me or to you. So I hope something's gonna click for you after watching this video. And next week, I'm gonna share how I organized my Google Calendar to actually make room for these goals. So if you're interested in that, like productivity, time management type of video, it's going to be a really fun one. I hope you stick around. If you're still watching and you haven't liked this video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Like I said, next week's video is going to be so much fun, and I will see you then.